I am Tony with Black Dice Gaming, and today we're going to be doing our unboxing of Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight. So, pretty important members of the Black Order. So, take a look at the models first. Great. So, nice. Yeah, we got Corvus Glaive here. These will be on the medium base, the 50 millimeter, and then Proxima on the smaller base there. Got some tokens, and then the big ones themselves. Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight are really the heart of the Black Order, and a pretty frightening duo themselves in their own respect. So let's take a look at Proxima. We have a 5 health, large move, size 2, 3 threat character with 3 for defenses across the board. But like a lot of the Black Order, she has an Invulnerability Passive, similar to the Iron Man passive, where she takes 1 less damage, but always has to take at least 1. Martial Prowess, we see this ability also on Gamora. It's when a character is targeted by an attack within 2. They can use this superpower for 2 power as a reactive. Their defense becomes 5, and if they don't take any damage from that enemy attack, they deal 2 damage to the enemy instead. And that's something they don't get to roll defense dice against, so that's just straight up 2 damage that they have to suffer. But the biggest thing, honestly, and you see another version of this rule on Corvus Glaive, is Wife of Corvus Glaive, and what this big chain of text basically says is at the end of her activation, as long as she's within 4, you can now activate Corvus Glaive immediately after her. Chained activations, and in a game that is built around, switching activations, I mean, this is a huge, huge ability. As far as her attacks, she got a pretty decent 5 dice strike with Pierce on the Wild. She has a 3 range, 5 dice spear throw. And then after the attack is resolved, you place her within 1 of the target, and with poison on the Wild. And then Quantum Starburst for, whopping 4 energy, but I mean, a range 4 on that for a 6 dice attack. As long as you do damage, you bleed, poison, and stun the target. That's a lot of conditions to throw out, for just a 3 threat character. And that leads us to her husband, good old Corvus Glaive. So he has 6 health. He is a medium movement speed, size 2, but he is on that 50 millimeter base, so he's a little bit faster than he seems. And then a 4 threat, but frankly, he's going to be 5 threat most of the time, because he should have that reality gem as long as you can swing it. The math on the reality gem, and we'll get to it in a second here, although let's just get to it now, So he's the gem bearer for the reality and the time gem. What the reality gem does, it's a 1 threat gem. It allows you to modify 1 skull on any roll into a crit. I mean, this changes things for, interacting with certain objectives, changes the math in a huge way. It turns the odds of getting that scroll agent from 23% to 46%. It almost doubles your odds, or it does double your odds of getting a successful interact roll on that mission. Even though if you look here, he's 3 defenses across the board, with the reality gem, it effectively turns him into a 4 when you look at the math at the end of the day. And then he also can bring the time gem, though, and it's just as scary in its own right. So it's 2 threats, a little bit more, and for 2 power, the character gets to make an additional activation. So 3 actions during a turn. which is pretty big. I don't think you're going to be seeing it on Corvus as much as the Reality Gem, but the Time Gem itself, definitely a game changer. So Corvus's other abilities is kind of like Loki. He has an ability where he can pay power, and then he turns his next strike, which is, or death blow, both of the physical attacks, turns all his blanks into successes. And then, like Proxima, he has the same ability, Husband of Proxima, which lets him chain activate with her, so it doesn't matter which order you guys go in, as long as the first one ends within 4 of the other. And then that Black Order Invulnerability Passive that we all know and love and hate. So as far as Corvus's weapon or attack options, we have a pretty standard strike with a pierce, Atom Splitter, which is after the attack is resolved, you just automatically gain a power, but it's a nice free 4 dice, 4 range energy attack, which, you know, for most of the characters in this game is their weakest defense by far. And then last but not least, we have Death Blow. And this is kind of like Valkyrie, where on the wild you can make a free strike, and in addition, after the attack is resolved, you get to move medium, and I mean that's a lot of power packed into an attack. And you add that, you know, you throw them in a faction with some dice manipulation, you know, or if you have Shuri on your team in the Black Order, you can very reliably, especially with that Reality Gem, throw out 3-4 attacks a turn. I mean, that's pretty brutal. So, and this is after Proxima is activated, or maybe Proxima is activating afterwards. So, I mean, you could very easily get 6 attacks in a row, unimpeded. That is a lot of firepower, and I mean, that just changes things up in a huge way. I've been messing around with them on Cabal rosters myself, personally, and they are pretty frightening. So for the rest of the cards here, we got Blood to Spare, which is a reactive card. When a Black Order character would be dazed by an enemy effect, you may spend 3 energy to play this card. That character immediately performs an attack before gaining the Daze token, and then if it results in the character removing damage, it is not dazed. So, a lot going on. That last part, I think, really only matters for Venom right now with We Are Snacks. He's the only person that heals himself. Although it's only for Black Order characters, so that doesn't even matter. But yeah, no, that's a pretty good ability. I don't know if it's going to make your 8 competition is really tight until they introduce some kind of reserved list. But, you know, for fun games, I think it's a decent one if you're running a Black Order squad. And then the next one is Price of Failure. So we have Black Order. Choose an injured allied character to play this card. Other allied characters gain 3 power. The chosen character is KO'd. This one, you know, I don't think it's horrible. It's just very corner case. You know, depending on how big your squad is. Because it doesn't specify Black Order, so it's all of your allied characters, as long as you are Black Order affiliation. But yeah, it's just tough to line up where, you know, there's a character that's going to die anyways. I mean, sometimes you just want to force the enemy to waste those activations. It just seems not quite there, in my opinion. But last, we have Execute. So this is an unaffiliated, reactive. When Corvus Glaive targets an enemy character with an attack that is within 1 of an allied Proxima Midnight, or when Proxima Midnight targets a character that's within 1 of Corvus Glaive, they both spend 2 energy for 2 power for the card, and that enemy character gets no defense dice. So 4 energy, you need both of them to be nearby. I feel like that part is actually really not that hard to set up, getting them both close enough since you have the chained activations. 4 power is kind of a lot though. Definitely useful. You know, if you're running Proxima and Corvus, if they are going to be the star of your roster, if you're trying to fit them in, you know, if you're trying to run like a Black Order Cabal hybrid, maybe this should be there, because that's a lot of damage. So that is it for the husband and wife pair. Stay tuned. We will be having a painting video for the 2 of these guys coming up pretty soon here. So if you guys have any questions, anything you want to see next, drop them in the comments below. And once again, this is Tony with Black Dice Gaming. Happy trails.